Hi, thanks for joining us for the LoveSoul Movement Podcast. I wanted to introduce this next series that's coming up. We'll have a couple of episodes in 2021 and then take a break for a few weeks and then come back with more episodes of the Strength in Women series that we're doing. It started off as a workshop. We were going to do a Divine Feminine workshop and talk about what it's like to be in your feminine, be in the soft feminine, especially after being in a masculine energy or a masculine role for most of your life. And what I realized with everything that had happened to me this year and everything that happened this summer, that what I was actually doing was collecting stories. And I was collecting stories of women who are extremely strong from all different backgrounds. And it gave me a lot of hope. And I decided that this is what we needed to do to celebrate life. So here we are. It's the holiday season. And I want to introduce the Strength in Women series. We're going to have a really good time doing this. I hope you enjoy these podcasts and interviews and conversations as much as I enjoyed having them. And we'll see you really soon. Twice. Hi, guys. Welcome back to another LoveSoul Movement podcast. This is the second interview for the Women in Power series. We have Paige Yin. She is a healer that I met on Twitter. Super, super darling. And she's coming to us from Malaysia, right? Yeah. I wanted to make sure I was in the right, because you've been in a couple locations. So I want to make sure you're in the right one. Real quick, Paige, or the Healing Paige, is an eternal student of life with an enthusiasm to learn, heal, and inspire by living in her truths. She has an avid interest in energy healing practices such as Reiki and the Akashic records, and is currently using these modalities to assist others on their healing journey. Hi, Paige.
Hi, Bethany.
It's super late where Paige is, and she looks so refreshed. Even
Well, I took a nap in the afternoon, so yeah.
Yeah, naps are, I'm a professional napper these days myself, so I understand that completely. So we talked a little bit before we started the camera about the celebration of life that I want to bring to everybody and myself through these stories of women that have just been through life in different, a little bit more difficult, a little bit more lessons that they have to learn. There's a lot more trauma and wounding that they have to heal in their lifetime, or they've been tasked with healing in their lifetime. And just, watching how Paige moves, and it's so funny because I'm a Venus 12th house Virgo. So I watch how people move with, like, I don't do it on purpose, but I watch how people move in their lives. And a lot of times, you can see a person by their character, by how they're interacting with other people, and by how they're showing up in the space, in the community. And you just bring such a presence to, and like, I know you from Twitter, but I've also seen you on Instagram, and you just bring such a healing presence. And I've always seen it since the very first day that I saw your page, your Twitter page. I've always seen that in you. So I, for one, appreciate you keeping safe spaces in places where we don't have many safe spaces to keep anymore. But I'm so interested to hear your story. I've watched a little bit of it from your videos and stuff, but I didn't want to ruin the plot. So for myself. So I'm going to let you introduce yourself in your own words and kind of give us your background and how you became a healer, how this happened for you.
Thank you, Betsy. And I really want to say that I really appreciate you as well. And from the first day we connect, there is so much, love and healing energy from you. Like, I just feel your presence as well. And I really love, thank you for being in my life.
Thank you.
So, hi everyone, I'm Paige, and I am born and raised in Malaysia. Okay, so on the healing part, so I will have to say spiritually healing, it probably like, throughout the whole life I have been that, it's just that I didn't realize that. I actually tried to shut myself down for a bigger part of my life. I think about 10 plus years that I try to shut myself down because, living a life as like an intuitive, and then you will get people to tell you like, hey, you should not do that. You cannot do that because otherwise you can't make a living in this life. So I have been told that through school, and then like into my adult working life. And I remember that there was one point in my life, I think about 20, when I was 20 plus years old back then, I actually literally shut myself down so much that I don't feel like I was living. It's like, I always describe that as like life as a black and white movie until a certain moment that, there is excitement, there is something fun that bring it to life.
You're such a Scorpio moon.
I am.
The intensity of that. It's like, so everything's so black and white.
Yes.
That's okay. Go ahead.
Yeah, everything is black and white, and there were happy, beautiful moments.
Yeah.
But especially those beautiful moments started to, to really show itself after I was connected with, I have to say, one guy in a band, and he, like the day that I connected with him, I knew that I have to go and see him more, and just for him. Okay, just for him. I was back then, I was lovesick. Okay.
Yeah.
I flew to Japan every single time just to see him. And I was crazy enough that one year I literally fly there for 7 times within 1 year.
Wow.
Yes. So just to see him. And it's also not just to see him, because when I fly to Japan, I discovered that life is beautiful and amazing. And that got me to start thinking about how am I living my life. And I remember that was one quote that kept on popping up to me. I forgot where I saw it, but the quote was like asking me like, if you're going to die tomorrow, would you be regretting it? And back then, yes, I would.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And afterwards, it's just a lot of traveling. Okay. And traveling helped me to ground myself into this reality, because when I was working, I'm out.
I had no idea that you did, because that the same thing happened to me, exact same way. I had no idea. I love that.
I love that too.
Because really, when you're misplaced and you're traveling a lot, you have to find that home in your heart. Otherwise you can't stay grounded. Yeah. I mean, like, you're forced to, do that. And I think that people that are, and it's the life will look at you and be like, wow, you're really chaotic, and wow, you don't know what you're doing, and wow, your life is not together at all. And here you are, more at home than anybody. Because you don't have, 4 walls that you can depend on for security. So you have to find that within yourself. So yeah, really applaud you for that, because that's not easy to do.
And yeah, that was those few crazy years. I was not even into spirituality back then. Mm-hmm. So I have no idea like what healer, what is Reiki, no idea. The thing is that through meeting, this guy, and he's in a band, and connecting with his band, or the band of the band. Yeah, I was actually connected to one of the spiritualists. Okay, she introduced me to Reiki. She introduced me to a lot of different energy work, including shadow work, which I'm very grateful for that.
Yes.
Also about twin flame. I am grateful for that, but I really am not sure, like, that was a journey I walked down on that. But yeah, it's also like one of the journey that, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, like one of the I think one of the catalysts that makes me feel like I want to be a healer, apart from me being a 6th house moon. So I'm just like living for service kind of thing.
Yeah.
Also the part that I started my spiritual journey, apart from Reiki and shadow work, is on twin flame community. And back then I didn't know. Okay, I was like misled, and of course I spent a lot of money. I spent a lot of time just to unite with the twin flame and so on. And once I realized that, I broke out of it. I just realized that, hey, maybe there are people outside. Like later on, I realized maybe there are people like who are still in the community and they feel lost. Maybe they don't align with twin flame anymore, like me, and they feel lost.
Yeah.
And I wanted.
There's a lot of that right now.
Yeah, and I really wanted to be like the one who, like one of them who help and guide those people who are on this journey, into their own journey instead.
Yeah. That's awesome. So with the twin, let's talk about the twin flame journey, being as controversial as it is these days. Because I found myself on that as well, as so many people did. But the thing about it is I was really, really sucked into the idea of the romantic relationship myself. And it was easy for me when I finally realized, oh my gosh, this is about the relationship with myself. This has nothing to do with having a relationship with somebody else. But what would you say to people that can't get that? Because I've had so many people who would come to me and we would discuss the whole twin flame thing. And then when I started making sense of it, those people decided that I was in the wrong and they were still going to wait for their twin flame. And so it's very interesting when I speak with other people who figure out that, oh, wow, this is about me, wholly about me, and not about anybody else. And it's about me writing love letters to me. And it's about the readings are about the other half of me telling myself that to like wait and be patient, and I'm coming and it's here, all of those things. What would you say to people that can't pull themselves out of that narrative so that they can see the relationship with themselves? Because I find it very difficult sometimes.
Yes, I think so too. And I do think that, one of the things that I learned is that, I was like trying to form the sentence.
Okay.
Okay. It is that if you are meant to be with this person, regardless if they're soulmate, if they are twin flame, you will always be meant to be with this person. It does not have to be in this lifetime. So spend the time, this lifetime, and just enjoying your own present first. And if they are, if their healing journey is theirs, if they are ready, they will come to you. Like there is no need of work to chase after the person. Oh yeah.
The chasing part really needs to stop, that thing needs to stop. But because that's never going to serve you. Like whether you're chasing a job or a person or anybody to love, like if you're chasing anything for yourself, you're literally pushing it away. I was going to ask you something on that topic. I was just going to just say really quick that one of the things that I guess I'm being a Virgo, and I know that you understand this because you're a lot of Earth as well. You have to make logical sense of things. You know what I mean? Like I think that's probably my hardest lesson in this lifetime. Being a 12th house Virgo, I have to be connected to the spiritual world, but somehow stay grounded at the same time. And it's really clashing. It can clash in a big way. And I have found that, so being with my divine partner, I guess that's really all I can call. I mean, he's literally, we are the same person sometimes, like our energy is the same. I see all of the good parts of him all in one person that I saw in a lot of different other partners that I had. And so for me, like the whole twin flame experience was all of those pieces that I saw in other people were really parts of me, right? The reflection of who we are. And then when I found my person who was my actual I mean, you've seen pictures of us too. It's very oddly, we look so similar to each other. Like our eyes are the same, but that's the way that I sort of had to wrap my mind around the whole process of what was going on, because it was such a painful experience to go through. And to think that the one person that you think you're supposed to be with in this lifetime is rejecting you. That was like that was the part, right? So that's why I wanted to kind of bring that up, because, you know, a lot of people will go through that and just sit in torture and suffering their whole life because they're just waiting for that one particular person. When in reality, it's in, you know, those pieces are in so many people that you meet along the journey and along the way. And if you recognize that enough in yourself, you literally create your reality with it. So what is the most challenging part of being a healer for you?
The most challenging part. I would think is balance, keeping a balance, especially between helping others and, you know, not invalidating their personal powers. Okay, that is one of the balancing that is very, like sometimes you would tend, as a healer, you know, you have so much to give. So at times you might be overgiving, and that would invalidate their personal power and their journey. Another balancing that is hard is that balancing between, you know, helping others and not overgiving yourself, which I do struggle with quite a bit as well. As mentioned, 6-house Scorpio. So yeah. So that is like having to have this firm boundaries with other people. It is something that is quite hard to balance.
It is. And I totally agree with that. I think it was a really long time, actually several years of me being into the healing process, because people project on you too. I was, when I was doing the YouTube, I mean, I'm still doing it, but when I had the reach of like 75,000 views, which I'm actually kind of grateful that that's not happening anymore. There were so much projections onto me because of my 8th house Chiron, of course, but it was the balance that I needed to find, though. Those were within my lessons. Do you find that when like you can start to see where you need to pull yourself back? Are you noticing that now, or?
Yes, now I am better at understanding that, and I do think that I need that space as well. Like, yes, I'm grateful for all my clients and everyone, but I would take a step back instead of, you know, there were a few clients before who I was like totally involved with, being friends with, and getting too close, and that is something that I currently trying not to do too much.
Yeah, I have a couple of clients that I've worked with for years that we are almost in contact every single day. So I understand that, but those are the client, like I would never do that with somebody who was siphoning off of me. Like it's always an even energy exchange, you know, because the people that value you are going to always pay the full amount. They're always going to, you know, make sure that they're giving back to you in the ways that they need to be giving back to you. But what would you say to somebody who, because this is a question that I get asked all the time, when you're starting your healing business and you're such a businesswoman, I wish I would have had that kind of business savvy when I was starting my business. I was just like, woo, let's do this. And flying, like throwing all caution to the wind. And I just didn't give a shit. I was like, but you're just like, you've got it, man. And you have those, I like when I see you put up your energy classes, by the way, we're going to talk about how she does her Reiki energy classes, because I love the process how you do it. And I've taught some Reiki classes, and I love teaching Reiki, but it just takes so much out of me. So I can't do it very much anymore, but the way you do it is amazing. What would you tell somebody because I know with this Jupiter in Pisces, there are going to be a lot of spiritualists coming out. What kind of advice would you give to somebody? And what kind of advice have you been given that you have held on to?
Okay. For that, is it on creating a business, spiritual
Yeah.
business?
Yeah.
Anyone just coming into healing?
Yeah. Well, either, I mean, in creating a spiritual business and starting or becoming a healer.
Okay. For that, I would say give it time. Like you do not have to know like A to Z within 1 week or 1 month, because you won't be able to know everything. I like as Bessie mentioned, that I'm teaching Reiki and I'm still learning something new about Reiki every single day, you know, and
Yeah,
working
that's the
with
cool
people.
thing about Reiki. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
Yeah. So give it time. You do not have to, get everything done tomorrow. Like there is no time limit for healing. There's no time limit for setting up your business. Give it some time. And also another that I really like to put this is because my Akashic records gave it to me, is that when you do not know how to feel about something, try it. Just try it. Try it for 1 or 2 person, or try it with a whole bunch of person, and decide for yourself whether you like it or not. If you do not like it, change your mind. It's okay. Yeah.
It's okay to change your mind. Yes.
Like so many spiritualists, I think they're kind of like, I would say, a bit stuck in where they are because they do not dare to change their mind, or they do not want to change their mind.
Well, and there's also people feel like there's so many rules around spirituality, and there's not one damn rule that you have to follow. Your spirituality is about your own awareness. So
Definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah. Follow the heart is very important as well.
Amazing. Yeah. That's great advice. Take it slow. Take your time. That's good. Well, and I really wish that somebody would have said that to me, because I was on the fast track to who the heck knows. And the funny thing is life slowed me down. It wasn't even me. I would have just kept going on, full steam ahead. I would have just kept going. You probably know what that feels like.
I actually did that full steam ahead for about 3 months, and I was so exhausted. I had to put my ass down.
Yeah.
Pardon my language, but yeah, the universe be like,
we're a full dictionary around here. You can use all the language. I don't care. We don't restrict people around here from what they need to say or do. So, what was a piece of advice that you received that you would like to pass on?
On the advice that I received, okay, one of the things that I really like, one of the advice I heard from one of my favorite YouTube spiritualists apart from Bessie, his name is Jason. He's from MTVO, and he actually state about the difference between like trust and having faith. So his quote is that trust is knowing that you have a platform to stand on. Faith is knowing that you have wings and you can fly.
That's nice.
So I think that is a very powerful one, because a lot of us are struggling with trusting and having faith. Yeah. And a lot of us are, I would say, I'm seeing enough, like they are, trying to put the responsibility of, taking care of themselves on other people, but also don't forget your own wings. Like you can have faith and you can fly, you can learn to fly. And sometimes the platform has to disappear from you under your feet for you to learn to fly. So I think that's a very important.
Yeah, that's really good. It's very good. And man, that's kind of a good motto I have to think about that for a little while, because I say something very similar, but that makes a lot of sense, because you're putting more trust in yourself, and there's no outside source that you can put faith in to accomplish anything. You have to have faith in yourself. And I think in this world that we're in right now, it's just everybody is so off kilter. Everybody doesn't, it's so much confusion, and I don't know who to listen to, and I don't really know who to believe, and I don't really know who to trust. And so when it comes down to it, the only person that you can trust is yourself. So I really love that. Well, let's talk about Reiki, since that's one of both of our passions. How did you get started? Was it something that came to you?
That is, excuse me. So, okay. So for Reiki, so I actually started with energy healing first, and I was like, because I was interested, and one of my friends that I mentioned, the fan of the band, so she was talking about how to do energy healing, like visualizing color, lights, and so on to help your balance your own energy field and so on. So I actually learned that from her, and I was like saying, hey, maybe I can actually do this for other people as well if they are, interested in letting me help them with that. So the friend actually kind of like stopped me at then, and they say that I can't send energy work to another person without learning Reiki, which is not true, by the way. Yeah. And that was like what fired me up. I was like, I'm going to learn Reiki.
Yeah.
I'm going to help other people with healing.
Well, because how I see it, because I learned the same kind of Reiki that you did, where there aren't any like for a guide, there are places you can put your hands, but Reiki is so intelligent that all you have to do is think about the person and send the light to, all the way in Malaysia, I'm thinking about sending light to you right now, and I know exactly where it's being sent, and you can probably feel it. And that's the thing, is when people it's about intention. It's not about following the rules. It's not about having, you have to respect it, because as with any kind of energy, if you're not respecting energy, it can literally kill you. It can create so much stuff. I have a hilarious story. I was trying last week about energy. I can feel myself outgrowing this house, this space that I'm in, when you start just getting like really irritated with all the crap and the piles of trash, like the chaos, right? You're outgrowing a space when there's chaos. And so I stood in the middle of the room and tried to push the walls to make the house bigger and push the walls. And I am not kidding, Paige. I had a pipe burst downstairs. My back door won't lock now. And there was the light. There was a light in the room that I was in that I was stretching that just stopped working, and we had to have it replaced. But yeah, people don't realize how powerful you can be until they do something. And that sounds kind of silly, but the fact that it all happened literally start a day after I did that. I don't see any other explanation for it. But so when you started Reiki, it came to you?
I think kind of.
Yeah.
It is through the guidance of that friend, like a teacher back then. So I went out my way to look for it and went to Japan to learn it.
Yeah.
So that is that. So I think it's kind of like meeting in the middle, maybe, not like it came to me, I go to it.
Yeah, you kind of met it together. That's so cool. I love that. So your Reiki classes, tell us about them, because you set it up so much differently. And the reasoning why you set it up so much differently is because of the rules that Westerners gave Reiki. So your 12-week program,
12-week, stretch out 14 weeks, so that I think that for Reiki or any energy work, it is very important for the student or anyone who's learning to have enough time to play around with the energy, to feel it for themselves. So hence I make sure that it is a long stretch out enough. For 14 weeks is actually set by the Akashic records. I actually sit with them and because they were saying that you should teach Reiki. So just how can I teach Reiki? with all the foot stamping and like, I don't know what to teach Reiki, but how?
Yeah. Yeah. That's
Yeah,
kind of
and
what I did too. Like, yeah, I really fought against it for a couple years.
yeah.
But your Reiki, so you teach Reiki 1, 2, and the master level all within this 14-week. I mean, it's 12 weeks, but it's stretched out to 14 weeks because there are 2 breaks.
Yes.
And and the way that I see it mostly being taught is either like 1 and 2 are together, and then there's like 2 or 3 other class, or like 2 other classes after that, or something like that. And I've done it just Reiki 1, Reiki 2, and Reiki 3, because I want them to have the time to play with the energy and to understand it before. I don't like teaching the master class for my students until we've got, everything else down. But yours, and that has worked so well with so many people doing that 12-week to 14-week course, that I just thought it was genius. And I wanted you to bring that up, because I think that being able to do it all together, people have said, because to me, that's easier for people who have like short attention spans. They don't really have a lot of time, because I went from April to November and I was a master. So I did Reiki really quick as well. So I just really like your process. And I think that it's much more convenient for people to do that. And you teach an Akashic class, or you're not teaching Akashic, but you're doing the Akashic records. Are you teaching Akashic?
I am starting to, I tried teaching Akashic in a group session, but it doesn't really work in that way, because everyone have their individual Akashic journey. So I'm now being called to offer like one-on-one if anyone want to do the guidance. It is similar with kind of like Reiki classes that I do, because every single week I will have to sit with the energy of the class. Like it comes in like a group of 10 people, or sometimes more, sometimes less. But every week I have to sit with the energy a little and feel for it. What should I teach on this week? So all the lessons that I have planned, they are exchangeable. So I think that is part of why it works, because it is according to the progress.
Yeah. Nice. And it probably really, that's like learning the balance of your own energy too, giving too much to people, going back to that. Well, I think it's amazing what you've been able to accomplish for yourself. And, just so grateful to have you being a part of the community that, we were talking about how there's just, you don't know who to trust anymore. You just don't know who to trust anymore. So it's really nice to be able to have genuine energies around that, they're not like out to hurt you, not to like harm anybody. It's so few and far between. So I appreciate you so much. Just as a woman that strives to always be better every single day and wants that for other people too. Thank you. Very much. And thank you for being on my podcast. I know it's super late where you are, but I love you so much and appreciate you every day.
I love you so much too. And
I hope someday that we can just like hug each other. The world's going to get smaller. It really will. I know it will.
I am planning to go on traveling every now.
I would love that. If you could come here, that would be so awesome. That would be fun. I would love to be able to come visit Malaysia and Japan. Like I've heard beautiful stories about it from you and others. So hopefully someday that'll be a thing too. We'll see. Someday. Yeah.
Waiting for it.
Thank you, Paige, very much for being with me.
Thank you, Betsy.
Thank you guys. So yes. And for all of Paige's classes and stuff, I will have her Linktree actually, because it has all of her information on there. And I want you guys to go check all of that out, her website and everything. So I'll have that in the description box.
Thank you so much.